Quack, quack. Quack, quack, quack. Oh, Foxley. I just realized something. I forgot to update my girl avatar. I'd actually updated my trap avatar and I was supposed to update my girl avatar, but I forgot to do it. Oh well. Too late now. I have to commit. I'll update later after stream.
Alright. Yes.
Okay. Alive? Let's get this show on the road, shall we? Hi everyone.
Let's go.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Let me tuck myself in behind Oxley. There we go. And then bring this here. There we are. Hang on. Am I bigger than Foxley right now? Yes, I am. Hang on, let me fix that. There we are. Better.
Animation.
I need to. I forgot. I need to change a setting. For Discord Reactive, because the setting I use for streaming with you is different from the setting I use for streaming D&D. I need to apply this and okay, there we go. Hello everyone, welcome to today's Subnautica. We are just getting started. I need to launch the server. Nitrox. Start server. The multiplayer. Sadly, Nitrox still hasn't updated with the or Subnautica 2.0 yet, so we're gonna have to stick with Subnautica 1. Whatever. Oh. Hello Paris, hello Kingdra, welcome. How are you guys doing? Okay, thank you Hololive for the music. Alright, we don't need this anymore. Okay. Can you please capture? Hey, are you capturing? There you go. Alright, here we are. Multiplayer. Connect to my server. Join. I forgot to give you my IP. My IP might have changed.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. This is my current IP. Double check the number to make sure that it's correct.
That's still the same.
Still the same? Alright.
Yep.
Alright, how am I doing? We're doing okay here. Foxley and I just getting started with Subnautica. If we haven't played for like what? We missed 2 weeks. So now we're back. We're finally back.
Warning, emergency power only. Power restored. All primary systems online.
What's going on? Okay. Oh, here we are. Okay, I'm in. We need to find things to plant in here. Do you remember where we get the melon plants again, Foxley?
Melon.
Things that look like melons.
Inside underwater or
I don't know. That's the thing.
hmm,
Do you remember picking up any plant, fruits, and stuff?
nope.
No. I need to remember where those plants are. It won't be underwater because Cannon Island, Life Pod, Aurora Rendezvous Point, Dryland. We went to the Aurora Rendezvous Point, right?
No, what's that?
You've been to the Aurora Rendezvous Point, right?
Nope.
Oh, do you not go? I thought you went there before.
You mean the big ship? No, I haven't went there.
Not the ship itself, the rendezvous point. Dryland. Do you not go there before?
Oh yeah. I did go there.
I'm gonna check there again to see if you missed any plants.
Alright.
Yeah, make sure I bring food and water with me. Yeah, we're doing okay here, guys. I had a pretty good week. I'm excited to play this again. I had good exercise yesterday. I'm doing good. And I have a busy weekend ahead of me. Hi. Today we're doing Subnautica. Tomorrow we're doing...
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Tomorrow we're doing D&D, and then the after tomorrow, or possibly tomorrow immediately after D&D, I might just start playing. Hey, wait, hang on a second. Did I have an extra people on me? I did. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow I might just immediately go into playing Armored Core 6. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to playing Armored Core 6. Not gonna play today because, yeah, Buxley and I are already planning this, but Armored Core 6 is coming.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick trip out to...
Welcome aboard, Captain. All systems online.
I'm going to take a trip out to this island over there. Alright, wonderful point. Oh wait, hang on. I need to repair. There we go. Foxley's gone to... Where are you going, Foxley? You're going to the Aurora?
To the big ship.
Good luck! How are you guys doing in chat, by the way? You guys have a good week so far? There's actually some more things I'm supposed to do this week. Hang on, I'm also supposed to... Really? Fuck you, fish. I'm also supposed to start doing research for my next season of my Pathfinder campaign. But in order to do that, I need to sit down and watch the entirety of JoJo Season 4. And I don't know when I'm going to do that, or at least get started doing that, because we have so much things going on. Your week's been fun? Oh, anything interesting happen? Ooh, a wedding! Oh, Nice. IRL wedding. I see you. Okay. Foxley has been to this island. I have not. Let's see. Where's the landing zone for this island, Foxley? You remember?
We don't. It's been a while.
I'll go around, see if I can find a landing zone. Found.
Self-scan complete. Bacterial infection in your system is progressing. Detecting skin irritation and immune system response. Further data required to identify bacterial strain.
Voxel shrub. There is a very specific plant I'm looking for. Damn, is it not here? Chat, you guys can let me know if the answer to this is the fruit that I'm looking for that were meant to grow in the hydroponics bay available on this island. It's an orange fruit. I know that that orange fruit is essential for building a self-sustaining ship, but for building a self-sustaining base, but I don't know if I can find it on this island. I'm burping.
Oh. Nope.
Flora specimen will grow if planted in the right conditions. Main plant will grow planted in the right conditions. Hang on, let me look this up. Subnautica plant flora. There's a very specific plant I'm looking for. Vine. Lantern tree, that's it. That's what it's called. Back at the floating island near the Degazi sea base. As well as a single grow bear inside one of the abandoned observatories. I need to find that tree. And where? Is this a lantern tree? No.
Okay.
Which island am I supposed to find it in? Is it the Aurora? Floating island. The floating island. Biome. Ancient floaters. Survivors of the Aurora. Yeah, so there's supposed to be a lantern tree somewhere on this island. And I need to find it. But it's nighttime. Fuck. Can't see shit. Is that it? Is that what I'm looking for? Yes, lantern tree, yes. Alright, I'm gonna drop this and I'm just gonna pick up a bunch of lantern food. Okay, got what I came for. Did you pick up the Chinese potato?
I think probably ate it. Don't remember.
I need to... Fucking... Hang on! Fuck you! Okay, I found another Chinese potato here. I'm trying to bring back... Hang on! Fuck you! Fucking bitch! What? Marble melon seed? No, I don't want these. I want the Chinese potato. Okay. Chinese potato... Lantern food? Okay, I'm gonna bring this back so that we can start planting these in our base. Damn it. Fuck you. Ow. Fuck off. Okay, before I start driving back, I'm gonna wait for daylight so that I can see. Right, collect some stuff on the way back. I'm gonna look up what I need to do to get this planter working. Chinese. Ching ching. Ching chong potato. Extremely versatile.
Life form readings in this region are sparse. The Aurora's radioactive fallout will have devastating effects on the alien ecosystem if not contained within the next 24 hours.
Oh, hope you have a repair too. You need to repair the Aurora.
Hmm?
Hope you have a repair too, because I think you need to repair the Aurora.
Let's see. Yes.
Large tree trunk, large leaves, interior grow beds in Subnautica. Interior grow bed inside the seabed or inside the 16 slot 4 range 4x4 grid. Will result in complete list of plantable forest. Okay. Oh, it's morning. Right.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Right. Let's see if there's anything I can find on the way back. Oh. Any guys scared of the ocean, Jack? Scared of the deep? Scared of not being able to see anything? If I remember what you're supposed to do the Aurora, anything that is cracked and emitting sparks, you need to take a repair tool to it. And you can eventually seal up the reactor.
Alright, just need to find the entrance. Oh, is this it? I think this is it.
I'm going to grab some. Ah shit. I don't have space. I wanted to bring some Glad the fish down. Oh well, you know what? Fine. I'll just come straight home. Unless I see some boxes on the ground. You know, because of Raft, I keep holding the shift button now to fly faster. Is there anything here I can scan? No? No? Well, fuck you too. Sweet home. When you get back, feel free to park your sea moth inside the moon pool to recharge.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Oh god damn it! No! No! Climb! Climb up! God damn it! Not down! Oh, okay, thank you. I use planter. Oh god damn it, I actually ate the Chinese potato. Fuck! Fuck! Am I gonna have to go all the way back there to get the fucking Chinese potato? I didn't want to eat it, I wanted to fucking plant it! God damn it! Hey Errol, welcome. How's it going? Let me get some water. We need for water again. We need leech needs salt deposit and coral. How much salt do we have? Decent amount. What type of coral again do we need? Coral tube sample. We don't have that, so I'm gonna go and grab some. What are we here? And I feel like all Friday. No stir fried for you. What do you mean stir fried?
Hmm. Oh no.
Oh, you mean Chinese stir fried? Oh, everything okay, Foxy?
I think I'm glitched.
Huh?
There's an invisible wall around me. Can't go anywhere.
Huh?
Yes. I'm stuck.
Hang on.
Can't get out.
Shit, I don't have a... Hang on, try to log out and log back in and see if it fixes it. If it doesn't, I'll come try and get you. It might be one of those things where both of us need to interact with the fucking door in order to get it to open up.
There's no door there.
Really?
Nope.
I'm gonna put the table coral in the same box as the salt. Is the fox stuck? Yeah, Foxy's stuck.
Let's see. Nope. I'm still stuck.
Okay. Let me see if I can unstuck you. There's fucking hang on. Give me a minute, chat. I have to deal with some player stuck. Sometimes people are invisible for one place can get stuck. To help in Night Truck's console. Alright, you mean command not found? Hell. Ah? Okay, hang on a second. Huh? Why isn't command? Hang on, shit, hang on, the server console isn't working for some reason. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Restart promote. Who is whisper warp? Okay, I'm going to warp you to me. Okay. Fox.
Okay.
Slee. Warp. Foxley. Artificial. Okay, they are. Can you move?
Nice.
Nice. Now you need to go back to your sea moth unfortunately. Also. Now what do I want to do? Right, I have to go all the way back to the fucking island to get another Chinese potato. Don't worry, Chad, we didn't need grease, we just need the console commands. Also, we don't have grease in this game, it's called lubricant. Hopefully the Chinese potato already regrew. Should have been regrown. I'm just gonna go straight for the Chinese potato. Potato! You know, I had a friend who named her cat Potato. It's a really cute cat too. I miss her. It was a long time ago though, she's probably already... The cat's probably already died. Because I knew the cat almost like 20 years ago. Alright, here we are. Now, we need to go and find the fucking... Chinese potato again. Marble melons are also plantable. Interesting. I got what I need now. I'm coming back. Ooh, what's that?
New blueprint
Oh no.
acquired.
Power transmitter. Ooh, that sounds cool. What? How did I get hurt from that? Seriously?
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Ooh.
When I get back, I'm gonna do some minor base improvements. Try to make a second planter. If there's enough space for it. Hopefully there is. But we'll see. Maybe I don't need a second planter, maybe I only needed a one, but we'll see. Is me on my channel? Turn on my lurker window because I think Kaku just started streaming and he should be doing Armored Core, right? You doing the Armored Core? Oh, he's not doing Armored Core, he's doing dancing. Rising, I thought he was gonna do Armored Core. Have you seen the Genshin underwater maps? I saw the trailer announcing it, but I haven't seen anyone playing it yet. Hello, the streamers. I watch play Genshin.
Warning, ship's structural integrity is low. Fire suppression equipment and laser cutters may be required. Exploration is conducted at your own risk.
Okay.
How do I pull things out of the planter? Yeah. Indoor.
Caution. Scans show the digestive tracts of nearby life forms contain human tissues.
Oh. It's constructed. Habitat builder. Indoor 16 slots dismantling ago. So they're lost. Along with construction material. So how do I? Indoor grow bed. I shouldn't be building this in here. I should be building it. Okay, I have an idea for the expansion, but I need to wait until this thing grows first. Fuck. Okay, hang on. I need. We need something for food storage. Hang on. Navigator. Wall locker. Gonna place this wall locker here.
I think I need a new sea moth.
Actually, wait, hang on. You need what?
A new sea moth.
What happened?
Mine got stuck on land.
Eh?
Yeah.
How did you get your sea moth stuck?
I kind of like went vroom.
Oxley. Sea moths are not for joyriding. Actually, wait, no.
Yeah.
No, I should be putting the locker in close to the where we're gonna put the plants, right? So, you know what? Fuck it. Stop second guessing myself. Build the damn thing. God fucking damn it! No!
Oh well. Too bad.
Fuck this shit! Fuck this shit! Item ID time. Fuck this shit! I hate the left click instantaneous consume item thing in this game. It's so easy to accidentally eat something that you don't need to eat. Hang on. There you go. Fucking hell. Yeah. God fucking damn it. I'm gonna toss this out. I said toss it out. I'm vegetarian. No, fuck this shit. I fucking spawned the fucking thing because fucking left click. So annoying. Yeah. I'm annoyed. I'm going to build another locker here. Grow, goddammit! Did you actually need to abandon your Seymour?
Yes.
I'm not gonna spawn a new one due to you doing vroom vroom stunts. Spawning a new one due to the game bullshitting you and causing the Seymour to spontaneously explode. Okay, that one fine, but vroom vroom stunts, no. By the way, how are you guys doing? By the way, I'm doing fine-ish despite the game being annoying and that one button click thing. It's fine. It's fine. That one I'll just eat. I'm waiting for this fucking plant to grow. So that I can get the fucking fruit so that I can deconstruct this entire thing. Grow, damn it! Yes, chat, I'm watching grass grow. Also, I don't know what this is.
Oh.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know what this room is supposed to do. God damn it, grow faster! I'm gonna drink coffee. Green pie chat, yes. It's a hollow table, yeah, but I don't know what it's used for. I can see it scanned the area around us, but I don't know if it's meant to help us locate stuff or what. Okay, come on, give me more fruit. Give me fucking fruit. Come on! Okay. Now I'm gonna deconstruct this. Apparently I can't remove the plants over here. Right, lantern fruit? Okay, I'm going to put this into storage. Do not eat the fucking fruit. Okay. Right now I need to... Oh, I need to be outside. You building a new Seymour?
Yep.
Right. Storage container. What the fuck do you mean storage container not empty? There's nothing connected to you. What?
No.
Hang on. Does it think that these storage containers over here are... Are you fucking... Okay, hang on a second. Hang on. Chat, hang on. I'm dealing with game being annoying right now. Right now, construct here. Put this here. Now, go out and fucking deconstruct this damn thing. All this adventure just to get semen. Yeah, I know, right? Motherfucking semen should fucking come to us. Right now, I need to... Right, where do we go? Welcome, how's it going? I need to build a... multi-purpose room. Right... here. There we go. Actually, wait, hang on. Deconstruct. I should put a foundation here first. So let's do that. Foundation. Ah shit, I need lead. Yeah, lead. Give me a second, shall I focus on this construction project to improve the base? How scuffed is it? It's not that scuffed. I mean, we're doing okay so far. Everything okay, Foxy?
Wonderful. Yes. Everything is fine.
Now we build this.
Hmm.
There we go. Okay, and now I should be able to do this from the inside, I think. Let's try. Window, I need glass. And to make glass, I need quartz. I'm gonna put the animal glass stuff inside the quartz.
Okay.
Inside the quartz locker.
Where did it go? Ah, come back to it. What is it?
Oh wait, hang on. I forgot to make the glass. Yeah, so far no, not too scuffed. We only tiny bit scuffed. Hello Benjamin, welcome.
Yeah.
How's it going? Foxley is currently exploring the Aurora. I'm here moving our home. Anything? Are you okay, Foxley?
Yes. Huh.
I know I was talking to Thermi the other day and Thermi said, what? No, the streamer should be the one to explore. But then I'm like, but I like to build. Let's see. Here. And here. Should I put more windows here, chat? I need a lot of quartz for that though, and I'm using up all the quartz. Okay, I'm gonna have to go out to look for quartz. Place all the quartz I just used. Oh shit! Hang on! Fuck!
What happened?
It's fine! Oh shit! Oops! Shit! Hang on a second! Hang on! Everything's fine! Everything's fine! Everything's fucking fine!
Oh, yeah. Ow.
No power! Fuck!
Are you safe? Am I
Oh!
safe? Are we safe? Ah! Yamete!
Hang on! Hang on! Shit! Shit! Shit!
Ah,
Hang on! How do I insert a new battery into the habitat builder?
battery.
Exchange power source. Uh. Okay.
Okay.
Phew! It's fine, Chad. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. The base just sprung a slight leak. It's fine. We're fine, Chad. We're fine. Let me just let me just repair some of these leaks. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about it.
Lion.
We're fine.
Are you sure?
But probably.
Did you build too much stuff?
Um.
Oh no! What's going on here?
Don't worry about it. I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. Don't worry. It's fine. It's fine. Just a little bit of water got in. Don't worry about it. How do I? How do we pump out the water?
I'm not sure. Did you fix everything?
I'm
Alright.
looking at it. Is there any more holes? I'm not seeing any more holes. Oh wait, here, hole here.
Hull integrity restored. Draining systems
There we go.
initiated.
Yeah, we're fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Just a little bit of slight leaking problem. It's fine. It's all good now. We're fine. Oh, can we recharge batteries yet? I don't think so. Can we? Okay, just to make sure that doesn't happen again, let me build out the foundation a little bit so that it doesn't start yeah let's see here. Build out a new foundation. Here? Can I not build it there? Can I build it here? I can.
Whoa. Oh, whoa.
Au revoir. Okay. Okay, hang on a second. Fuck off, you fucking dugong! Stop stinking up our base! Shoo! Shoo! Get out of here! One more? Huh? Get the fuck out of here! Yeah. Go on. Get! Let me get back to planting now. What do I need for planters? Interior grow bed. Just titanium? Okay. And one more. Okay. Now I can grab the food. I need potato. Watermelon. Alright. Put these here. Put these here. No! Fuck this shit! Fuck this shit, I'm not gonna go all the way back there to get another fucking Marvel Valid! There! Fuck this shit! I'm done! I'm done with this fucking thing! Fucking done! Yeah! Okay, I need to go and get some. I need to go and get some food, get some quartz, and get some salts.
Welcome aboard, Captain. All systems online.
Where? Let me get some food before I head out. Yep, Peeper. Hey, are these all the... Oh goddamn, these are all the rotten food that we tossed.
Nani?
Oh, I got it. That, give me that. Okay. Alright.
What's called?
Yeah, quartz are very low right now. I'm going to go and try to find some. Do you remember where we get quartz?
Under inside like small caves. Yeah.
Need more salt deposits as well. I'm gonna try to see if I can get some quartz and salt deposits.
Mm.
Look at this. Fish because we need the water. Oops. Any quartz down here?
No.
Everything okay, Foxy?
Yep. Well, ow. Yeah, I'm good. Ow. Everything is good. No. Everything's fine.
Wait, how am I getting radiation poisoning here?
Yamete?
That you don't sound okay. What's going on?
I'm just collecting quartz and one of those exploding things.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm fine.
Also running low on titanium. I'm gonna pick up these salvage.
Titanium? We have lots of titanium.
I used up all the titanium.
I see. Let's see. A few more. Oh, they respawn. Nice. A bit too far.
Why is it I can't find salt deposits when I'm looking for them? So as I say, here.
It's like printers. They can smell you need them. And smell the fear. Oh, you're so far.
Quartz. Copper. Why is there rocks here? Nobody knows.
No! I'm good.
Okay.
Oh, there's no power. Okay. There you go.
Always have so much of it until you need it, and then you can't find it anymore. Good to see me streaming. Yeah, it's good to have you here as well. There's a lot of things going on this week. Oh, lots of things streaming wise. Subnautica today.
No.
D&D tomorrow. And then more than likely Armored Core immediately after D&D or Sunday. I have to see how I feel. Is that something that's scannable? No? Okay. Oh, I never scanned the sulfur plant. Ah! Motherfucker! Kill the peeper too. for more fucking salt. I'll get those fish in the meantime. I said I'll get the fucking... Thank you. How's my inventory? Quite full. Okay, I'll get that fish and then I'll come home and make myself some food. No. You know I actually hate seafood, chat. I generally don't eat seafood at all. Alright. Do you need any water or food at all?
They have water.
Hmm?
There's water inside this one. This locker.
Which one? That one? Oh, okay. Okay, I'll put some into storage then. Also, we can start eating the plants. Although, if you eat the Chinese potato, remember to replant. Keep one for replanting.
Oh, really?
You can't eat shellfish because you're allergic. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. I'm not allergic to anything, but my dad is. Oh, I understand a little bit about the troubles of being allergic to certain foods. I only found one fucking quartz.
We have
Oh, you found a
almost
lot.
full. Yeah.
Nice. You're so much better than me.
I used the scanning room to find it.
Oh, so that's what the scanning room is for. Okay, I need to remember that. I wonder when we'll be able to build a battery charger.
No! Yamete!
Oh,
Okay, I'm good.
no. I'm supposed to make you make those noises.
What was that?
I'm supposed to be causing those noises, not monsters.
Can't be helped.
Okay.
Alright. Let me see if there's any blueprint I've yet to build. Purple tablet, compass. We have compass, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. My capacity tank. I don't have a radiation suit yet, but you're handling that. Magnetite? No, we don't have that yet. Survival knife. Waterproof locker. Ingredients are known for the thermal blade. Oops. What tank am I using? My capacity O2 tank. Lithium for that. And then ultra glide fins requires silicon, rubber, titanium and lithium.
No?
Ow. Okay.
Extends the range of a power source. I have no idea what that is. water filtration machine. That would be very good. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna build that next. Give me a second, Chad. I need to pee. BRB. You can listen to Foxley screaming while I pee. Wait, hang on. Not supposed to turn that on. BRB. Yeah.
Chatto matte. Gamen kudasai. Ah? Ow. Yamero. Okay. Ah! No, 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 no. Ah!
I'm back and getting back into my chest harness.
What? Whoa! Ah! Ah! Okay.
And technically, I'm not allergic
Everything's
to
fine.
shellfish, but...
Welcome back.
Oh, hang on. Foxley, I can't hear you. Give me a second.
Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong here. I'm good.
Okay. Sorry. Foxy, do you say something?
Nothing.
Okay.
Everything's good. Everything's fine.
Okay. Yeah, technically I'm not allergic to shellfish, but I don't like most seafood.
Oh. Okay. I think that's enough quartz for now.
Okay, I need... Wait, what the fuck is arrow
Oh, there's a
gel?
lot of quartz here. Okay, I need to remember this place. If I can.
Oh. Gel second ruby. Ah, fuck, I can't make that yet. Titanium. We're going to need to... Lithium. Foxley, what O2 tank you're using right now?
The high capacity O2 tank.
I think it's time we upgraded to ultra high capacity O2 tank. Because we have the components for it.
Ultra. Okay.
Yeah. It only takes 4 lithium, so let me know when you're back here.
I'm here.
Oh yeah? Okay. How
Yes.
how do I upgrade this damn thing? Wait, no, we need a modification station for that. Shit.
I have too much quartz. Many quartz. Many
Miscellaneous.
quartz.
We do not have the modification station. Shit.
Uh-huh.
Okay, scrap that idea. Let me see if there's another radio message I can get.
This is Life Pod 4.
Oh?
We've landed close to the Aurora. Flotation device is active, but we've got some big old fish in the water with us, and I don't know how long we're gonna last. We're close to the crash site, so bring radiation protection. 4 out.
Oh, you might
Signal
need.
coordinates corrupted. Approximate transmission origin recorded to data bank.
You might need to be the one to do that, Foxy, because I don't have a radiation suit. Unless we make me a radiation suit.
Hold on. What do we need for the shoot? Fiber mesh, lead. Helmet. Versus the helmet. Helmet.
Fiber mesh and lead, huh? Okay.
Fiber mesh lead too.
Do we have fiber mesh?
To make it keep fine sample.
Oh, that's easy. I don't think we have any
Keep
in with
fine.
us right now, do we?
Nope.
I'll go and get some.
Alright.
Some creep vines right over here, so easy.
Something.
I got 2. And take 2 lead, right?
Yes.
Oh, I'll make it myself. Alright. Oops, wait, no, I needed 2 more. Oopsie doo. Can't wait for the below zero playthrough. It might take ages before we're able to place below zero because one, the mod makers who made this multiplayer mod are still working on the Subnautica 2.0 update, and who knows when they're gonna get that out. And then only after they're done with that, they might make a multiplayer mod for below zero. So yeah, who knows how long it'll take. So might end up having to wait for a really long time. Conserves oxygen when diving deeper. Should I bring the rebreather with me or no? Lifepod 3, lifepod.
What's that? There's something burning over there. Is that a lifeblood? Let's see.
I don't see. Hang on.
Signal
What is
coordinates
this?
corrupted.
It's burning.
Approximate transmission origin
There's
recorded
nothing
to
here.
data bank.
Approximate transmission. Lifepod 4 transmission origin. Oh, okay. Yeah, I see it. The attached wire will grab the last photographic data. Okay, so we need to find Lifepod 4 and Lifepod 6 based off of photographs. Let me get some food and... Okay, I'll go and try to look for Life pod 4. See if I can find it.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
I have radiation gear, so I should be able to go closer. No. I'm not gonna bring a beacon because I don't think I'm gonna need to mark the location of this life pod. Just need to be able to see it. One thing I'm worried about is the Reaper Leviathan because, if I'm not mistaken, there's a Reaper Leviathan near the Aurora. I'm scared I'm gonna run into him. Oh, what's this? What's this? First aid kit? Yeah, I'll take it. Or nothing for me. Did you run into any Reaper Leviathan near the Aurora, Foxley?
No,
No?
not yet.
Okay, maybe there is no Reaper Leviathan near then. Ooh! Ooh, what's this? Propulsion cannon fragment. Propulsion cannon fragment. Quartz? Oh, now I find fucking quartz. Okay, I'm approaching the Aurora. Let's see here. Looking at that picture there, we need to travel along the Aurora until the engines are like so. Where is it? It's around here somewhere. Where are you? Surface and let's see if I can find if I can sight the exact angle. Have I gone too far? Hmm. 150 meters northwest of the Aurora's port midsection. Wait, I don't have a compass. Fuck. Foxy, are you still at base?
Yeah.
Could you make me a compass?
Compass. Let me see. Let me see. Compass, where are you? Copper wire, where is it? Copper wire.
Okay, but apparently I don't have a compass.
Silver and copper. Okay. That's that. Where are you, Silver? Okay.
Hi, dead man. Welcome. How's it going? Hope you had a good week. I hope everyone had a good week.
Okay, there you go.
Right, I'm on my way. 500 meters.
I'm gonna put it in the locker. The water locker.
Auto locker? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Foxy. Is this new?
Of course.
What's new?
Stalker tooth. Stalker
Usually you
tooth.
get quartz or lipos, they don't really change that. Oh yeah, this is the life pod quadrants being corrupted and you need to find it based on the picture. Yeah, that's new. What the fuck was that noise? Oh, it's just another fucking fish. I was talking to chat for a little bit. Wait, do I impact this? Yes, I do. How about this?
What do you use Stalker tooth for?
What do I what?
Stalker tooth. What do you use it for?
So far only animal glass.
Okay, okay.
It's really rare, so if you find one, pick it up. Thank you for the compass.
Of course.
Alright, I got some materials I might as well get this in order. That was one of those tools you have to build for, so it takes an upgrade slot. Yeah, I just got it. Don't worry, I got the compass. Oh my god, okay, we have too much quartz and titanium. Again,
Yes.
I'm gonna convert some of these
Indeed.
titanium into ingots. Oh my god.
Do you need more locker?
What, titanium? Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
I think it's for quartz because both of these are for titanium. I'll make a quartz locker. Indeed. And 안녕하세요. Oh wait, no. Wall locker. Fuck.
Plenty of fruits we can eat now. Although, personally, I would probably wither away and die if I have to subsist on a diet of only fruit.
Okay, there you go. Wah wah.
Was
Yeah.
there any other upgrade that I have not gotten yet?
Sick fluid intake. Vital signs. Stabilizing. Ta-ta-ta. Butter.
Pipes. No, I don't need those. Magnetite is not something we can even make yet.
Salt.
I already have a laser cutter.
That's fine salt. Salvarto. How many salt do we have?
Where's the second quartz?
Should be right next to the first quartz.
Oh, quartz 2. Okay, I see it. I didn't know that you moved the lithium over. Okay, got it. Okay, I'm full. Got some basic shit with me. Okay, I'm gonna get back out.
Alright.
I couldn't find the light pot before. I'm going to see if I can find it again.
All systems online.
So, 150 meters from the port midsection. Oh, you gotta be fucking seriously? Ah! Fuck you, asshole. Northwest of the. Okay, so we need to hit. Wait, have I explored this before? Hang on. Have I been in here? And nothing in here? Yeah, well. Hello? Nothing at all?
Hello.
Really? There's nothing here. Well, fuck you too.
Where are you?
You know, since you abandoned your sea moth over there, Foxley,
Hmm?
we now have a permanent marker of where the Aurora is.
I mean, you can disable the thingy in the icon thing.
I like having that there, so I know exactly where the Aurora is. What's this here? Propulsion cannon again.
Oh. Oh, there you are. No! Ah! I'm good.
Okay. No, nothing. God, please don't give me a propulsion cannon again. Fucking propulsion cannon.
Yeah, we have a lot of salt.
Oh my god, why do I keep spotting propulsion cannon? Abortion cannon.
Hija. Versus the entrance. Where is the entrance? Welcome aboard, Captain. And Thor.
Okay. Abortion cannon is fine. Yeah, we already technically know how to make it, but we don't have the station required to make it yet. Set salvage.
You're making.
Okay. So,
120.
I'm
Parts
here.
titanium.
Approximately 150 meters northwest of the Aurora's port midsection. How far? It's not that far out. Should be somewhere around here. Still looking for light bulb 4 here. It's here somewhere. The fuck is this?
Where are you?
Moonpool fragment?
Bruh? Oh.
That's part, yes. Yeah. The problem is I don't know exactly. Oh! Oh, it's on the surface. Well, found it.
Nice.
Hello? Anyone home? Hi. Hello. Can I come in?
Reach it,
Check
go
required.
ahead.
Acquired. Integrating new PDA data.
Is this all there is? Apparently. We also have a life pod 6. So, if this is life pod 4, okay, I'm going to look for life pod 6, see if I can find it.
Alright.
It was life pod 6 you were thinking of. Yeah. Okay, so this is exactly where life pod 4 is. Approximately 400 meters west by northwest of life pod 4. West by northwest of 400 meters down at the bottom. So we go straight down. And then we travel west by northwest until we hit red grass zone. Just turn out directions somewhere. Okay. Okay, red grass. Hmm. Hmm. Plus 6. It's approximately 100 meters. It's around here somewhere. Hit a Vickers point before you hit the roller. Yeah. Trying to find it right now. That's too deep. This is 100 meters. Let me check this place out.
100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Close. Anything? Anything is scannable?
Oh,
No, these are all bioreactor fragment. Scanner room fragment. We already have all of these. It's around here somewhere. Where did you end up?
Oh, what's that? Oh, okay. Ta-ta-ta.
What's this? Laser cutter fragment. We already have that. Oh god! What the fuck? What the fuck attacked me? Oh god!
Welcome aboard.
Those things shoot spikes! Okay, good to know. I feel like I've
30
gone.
seconds.
No? Oh, what are you saying, Foxley?
Oh, nothing. I was just mimicking the computer lady.
I feel like I've gone too
Nothing.
far.
7 minutes up. Assault.
That's not a part, that is a piece of the aurora. Laser cutter, laser cutter. We've already had it for quite a while. Right now we're trying to find the modification station. That's the major piece that we haven't found yet. Is there anything in here at least? I shall search this. What the fuck is that noise?
Passing 100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Radiation, goddammit. Is there really nothing in here? No. Nothing. Damn it. It's not Scannable.
30 seconds.
Which should we go?
I'm gonna find a beacon. Well, I'm going to go and make a beacon and then try to find this life pod 6 again.
I'm just making a lot of water.
I'm coming back. If I have a beacon on me, then it'll be easier for me to maintain my bearings. I'm gonna call you a whale. Brought back a whole bunch of titanium because I kept finding blueprints we already had.
Alright.
I'm gonna turn some of these into more ingots.
We have plenty of water. Water. If you wanna drink,
Oh, nice, thank you.
it's in here. This locker.
Oh my god! how much water farming do you do?
Not that much. Just collected salt
Wow.
and the coral thing.
Okay, now we have too much salt. Whoops. Oh well.
There's other use, just in case.
If you need water, I mean, if you need food, you can just go to the plantation and grab whatever you want.
Alright.
Chinese potato. Lantern fruit. Both are good for eating. They give a little bit of water, but not much, to be honest. Okay, I need to make a beacon. Let's see. I need a copper ore and 1 titanium. Easy enough. Need 1 copper ore and 1 titanium. Give me a beacon, please. Thank you. They're very salty. A little bit. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make 2 beacons so that I can mark both life pod 4 and life pod 6. After all the trouble I'm going through to find these damn things. Gonna make sure both are marked. Right. Getting out again. Yeah, Foxley. Foxley is really good at gathering resources.
All systems online.
Oh, shared food. Oh, okay.
Meanwhile, I did most of the base construction. Foxley is organizing our materials and the lockers while I build up the base. Although right now I'm looking around for life pods because I want fucking new upgrades. God damn it!
Yes. Indeed.
Okay. the dead escape pod. Have I gone too far? No, I haven't gone too far. I think maybe. There it is. My god, the loading the loading distance for this game is really short. Too short. Oh, okay. There you go, beacon. Alright. Edit beacon name. This is going to be Life Pod 4. Alright. Life Pod 4 is now marked. Should be. Yep. Alright. Now that's marked. Okay, I need to travel west by northwest this way until Life Pod 4 is about 400 meters. And hi Ginger, welcome. How's it going? Hope you had a good week so far. We will travel about 300 meters and then we'll continue the journey underwater. Right. Straight down. And now we continue west by northwest, looking for Life Pod 4. Where are you? I mean, Life Pod 6. Oh, I hear music.
Oh, sorry.
Life Pod 6, where did you go? What's that?
Passing 100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Bioreactor fragment?
Welcome aboard, Captain.
That is the same thing I explored earlier. I've gone too far. This is back towards green. Where are you? I was here before. Is that red grass? No, that's a different biome. Is there something in here? Another laser cutter fragment. No, this is outside of red biome now. Ooh, vending machine.
New blueprint acquired.
Oh,
New
Located in an area dense with grass near a number of natural arches and rock stacks. 400 meters northwest of life pods. The pod is among red grass. The image was taken. It appears to be looking in this direction because the cliffs go upward. So where is red grass that has cliffs going upward off in the distance?
Oh.
Maybe it's further up this way? Near a number of natural arches and rock stacks. That will be the rock stacks. There's an arch there. You guys see anything? I don't. I'm talking to chat. That's too far. It's switching biomes. That is a more bioreactor fragments. By the way, what remind me again, Foxley. What were you able to find inside the Aurora?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Just too big. I got lost, so I didn't really explore.
I might explore the Aurora eventually. Once I'm able to find this lost life pod.
Alright.
Whatever the hell it is. Yes, Puerto Rico. Finding so many sea mod fragments here. But I haven't found the pod yet. Okagu, hi. You finished your stream? I was lurking. I thought you were going to play AC6 today. On stream, I mean. I know you played it off stream. I thought you were going to play it on stream. Don't mind the slow progress right now. I'm trying to find a life pod that crashed somewhere in this general direction. Uh, the problem is that the load distance of this game is really short. You have to get really close before something actually will load in. And yeah, this
Passing 100 meters. Oxygen efficiency
a light pod is
decreased.
refusing to show. I'm using that life pod 4 as a marker of where I've been. Okay, maybe the description of its depth was wrong. Maybe it's a little deeper down here. That's different biome. It wouldn't be here, would it? No, this is completely different biome. There's a bunch of natural arches here, but I don't think that's where it crashed. It crashed among red grass. Can't find it. All I have is this picture and a really rough description to go on. We know it's in the radiation zone. We know that it's 400 meters from that. There's arches here and rock stacks there. We're stuck on a boss for an hour, so it's fun looking forward to seeing you play. Yeah, I'm looking forward to play as
Welcome
well.
aboard, Captain.
Sunday. Sunday will be the time I play it. It doesn't give me much by way of geographical landmarks. Oh, there's an entrance to another cave biome. I don't want to go here. Definitely wasn't here. Should be here. Like maybe exactly here? It looks like the same rock formation, doesn't it? Right here. But it did not spawn. Oh, Foxy? Whenever you can, I want to restart the server.
Alright. Can do that now.
Because I have a feeling this empty patch of grass is where the pod is supposed to be. So let me restart the server. Give me a minute, chat. Alright, server pause. With the server. And now restart the server. Relaunch the game. Alright. Connect to my server. Join. Let's try this again.
The Aurora suffered orbital hull failure. Cause unknown. 0 human life signs detected. Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Sandiri Anaka
Passing
here.
100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
Unless I'm able to stream, well, start and I feel energetic enough to stream Armored Core after D&D. Okay, you can come back in, Foxley. Yep, found it. Apparently the fucking server bugged and it wasn't displaying the pod. So let me live pod 6. God damn it. Oh, I was driving around this area for so fucking long. Let me know when you're in. I'll wait until you get in before I pick up the data pad and all that. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go pee. I'll be right back. You should be in by the time I get back. I'm back. Getting back in my BDSM. Sinus. Okay, Foxy, are you in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alright, now I'll pick up the PD.
Integrate a new PDA data.
Not as hot as Foxley.
What?
Foxley's the hottest. Okay, I'm finally done with this. I'm trying to check some attention. You catch the fuel line explosion. Oh god.
What are you doing? You were gone so long. I thought you drowned. Put the flare down. I was going to try and attract someone's attention. That's not a distress flare. Stop waving it around like that. You'll catch the fuel line.
Well, did I? Okay, I'm coming back. Finally done with this damn thing. Ugh. Oh, I found more bioreactor. Fuck this shit. I don't care anymore. What is that? That looks strange. This cannibal? No. Fuck you. Oh. Did respawn all of this junk? It did. Yeah, forklift. Yay, you can build a bar table.
New blueprint acquired.
Nice.
Is there an interior to this? Doesn't look like
Seek fluid intake.
it. Nothing here. Right, I'm coming home. I'm gonna try to explore the Aurora. Tomorrow. After I go back and get some water and stuff. It's a sea moth part. Anything? It is not the sea moth or bioreactor here? No. Remember to use the moon pool to recharge your sea moth if you need power.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is strange. What happens if I... Okay, now our base foundation hasn't loaded in for me.
Oh no.
I can see our base structures, it's just that I'm currently driving through the pillars. Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
Need to remember to not park my sea moth. There.
Vital signs stabilizing.
I'm going to convert some of the titanium I found into ingots. Oops, that's my knife. Lead. Both of us are? Mainly Fox Leader.
Hmm.
Fox Leader Hardy.
But
Bah. It's done now. I'm going to eat some potato. Hearty vegetable common. You know, it occurs to me I'm eating raw potato. Can't I cook these things? Really, I can't cook potato? Raw potato is disgusting. Can't believe this game expects me to eat raw fucking potato. Oh. Okay, survival knife, flashlight is okay, builder is okay, scanner, repair tool. Actually, all this is showing 100% even though I know for a fact it's not 100. Wait, is it 100? Yeah, a second. That's more like it. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go back into the aura to see if I can exploit a little bit. Why haven't I explored the aura?
Welcome aboard, Captain. All systems online.
How do you board the aurora? Foxy?
I don't know. Couldn't find the entrance.
Oh, you didn't actually get it? I thought you got it.
Nope.
Okay, let me see if I can find a way to get into the aurora. So that's why you beached your Seamoth? You were trying to launch yourself in?
Yep.
We're doing good, Ginger. Lucky her. We're doing okay here. We're having a nice, comfy Subnautica stream. I know a lot of people are like, fuck the ocean. The ocean's terrifying. I never involved Subnautica, but I find the ocean to be quite calming, actually. Hi. Now I'm going to try to see if I can find a way into the aurora. Maybe around the front? Or... I remember watching Markiplier play, and I think he got in through the side. Somehow, if I'm not mistaken. It's like an entrance hole you can walk in through the side. Where are you? You know, it occurs to me I should probably get a beacon so that I can mark the entrance. Yeah, let me do that. Back to base. So I can get the entrance beacon. Oops. serves me right for testing and driving. I'm trying to switch my lurker window over to someone else because cargo already stopped streaming. We need to lurk for someone else. Only one streaming on Kick right now. Oh god damn it, really? Really? My login was expired? Fuck, hang on. Hang on. What's the correct password? What's mine? Right, I need my... What, really? Oh, this is annoying. Shit. Hang on, sorry, Jack. I'm dealing with something right now. Invalid username. It's the same. Oh fuck, I misspelled my email. Hang on. This is why I think between. Hang on, sorry. Oh god. Trying to sign in. To a app that's asking you for an authenticator code that's contained within the same tablet is really difficult. Because it's like use the authenticator app, but in order for you to get the authenticator code, you have to navigate away from that screen. And then when you navigate away from the screen, sometimes the phone just clears the cache and then you have to re-log in again and... yeah. Right now, let me make copper and titanium to make a beacon. Right, now we got again. I would have liked to be able to conduct the search during the start of daytime, but oh. Is that Seamoth? No.
That one? Okay.
I wonder if there's anything we can do about the Seamoth that you launched into the...
Or I don't want to just leave it there. If possible.
Yeah, nope.
Anything here?
No. No, that's salvage. Oops. Okay, note this out. Don't stop being so
Greedy for speed.
What's that? Let me guess. Propulsion cannon?
Propulsion cannon. Again.
The entrance has to be around here somewhere.
Come on.
Is this it?
Oh god.
Wait, no, is this it?
Hmm.
Can I not swim through this?
Okay, apparently not.
Am I in the right place? No.
This isn't the entrance.
Look at all these open holes. Do you think you'd be able to swim through? But no.
Invisible wall.
Invisible wall, huh? Did
Yeah.
you find it?
Welcome aboard, Captain.
I'm still looking for the entrance.
Scannable? No. Is this the entrance? I'm going to assume it is.
Chat. Have any of you guys played this? I have a question. Oh, I found your Seamoth.
Can I push?
The Seamoth back.
Nope.
Why did you try
Try
to?
that.
Why did you beat your Seamoth?
I don't know. I thought there was more space, more water. Apparently not.
Yeah. Have any of you guys played this game before? I have a question. So we're trying to fight an bacteria infection, right? That's slowly
Telling us according to the story.
do we actually have a time limit?
Like,
Will we actually die if we fail to...
complete the story in time and find the cure.
fucking crabs! Does anyone know? You guys can give me the answer. I want to know if there's actual time pressure in this game.
New blueprint acquired.
Nice.
Water. Okay, I think this is a way in.
Ow! Fucking assholes.
Eh. Medkit.
The fire extinguisher.
I probably need this though.
Ow! Fuck you!
Alright, I forgot I already had fire extinguisher with me.
Oh.
We'll place it.
In this slot. No one available right now who's played this game before?
That's fine.
Aurora systems are running on local reserve power, unable to remotely download black box data.
A battery, huh?
Oh damn.
Fire extinguisher's out. How's this place so dark even though there's raging fires in here right now?
Put in.
War, please, thank you. God damn it, where is the fucking... Needing scannable in here.
Integrating new PDA data.
Nice.
Oh.
Mind if I do?
Integrating new PDA data.
That was administration.
Let's see if we can find anything in the
Cargo.
propulsion cannon.
Fuck off.
Integrating new PDA data.
Game seems to really want us to get the propulsion cannon. No battery?
I'll take it.
Can I get through here somehow? No? There's definitely more here.
Hmm. Do I need the cutting tool?
No?
Hmm.
How do I progress? Is it along here?
Here? Let's see.
What the fuck?
What's happening?
Chat, was I that close to death? How did I fucking die? What the fuck?
Oh no.
Chat, hang on. Chat, was I that close to death? Hang on. Hang on, I need to... I'm going back to check the recording. I mean, I know I got burned a little bit, but... Was I that close to death? Was I that close to death, or did I just get fucked by the game? I was not that close to death. I just instantly died. What the fuck? That's bullshit. Okay, hang on. Okay, fuck this shit. I'm going back. Hang on. This command cannot be used by console. Really? Fuck you! Fuck you, game! Well, I don't know where you want to put this, but here's a poster. Yeah, I need to get a fire extinguisher and I need to go back. God fucking damn it! So annoying. Instantaneous death like that. I even lost my sea glider. Fucking hell. I'm annoyed, chat. I'm annoyed. Okay, I'm going to fucking swim back there. I have all my shit right here. I hope I can pick up my lost items again. Unless there's one of those games where if you die and the stuff you lose is just gone. know for a fact that there's another way into the Aurora. I'm just not finding it. Last time I checked this, you can die from sickness, but it takes a long time.
Well, here's the thing.
Cell scan.
The last time it said that we were starting to get skin irritation. What happens if we die from the sickness? Is it just like completely game over, or
Do we respawn with,
do we respawn having lost some stuff like any other death? To move the CMOS, you need a propulsion cannon.
we don't have the capability to build one yet.
Well, eventually you extract it, but for now,
The Seamoth is stuck here.
also hello Nigel, welcome.
How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing okay.
Let me get back to where I was.
You here for the booty? Oh, I think you got two pairs of booty here. It's me and there's Foxley.
Okay, so this is definitely a pathway I was supposed to go. And I know that there is a reactor core I can get into.
But how do I progress from here?
I already got this terminal.
That's administration.
That's cargo bay 3. I died trying to put out the fire, so
Fuck that shit.
how do I get... Can I clear that fire? Nope. Oh my god.
Oh my god, the fire does so much damage.
Okay, yeah, so
Careful,
that's
huh?
fire that I cannot clear.
Can I get over this?
Chat, you can tell me this. Am I supposed to go out and around the Aurora to progress further? Because I got the stuff in administration, but I can't seem to go anywhere else.
I can't go there. That's
Unpassable fire. Can I climb here? Parkour? Nope.
in 2 hours you have to go to work. Oh,
Okay. Hope you have a good day at work, Naichu.
I appreciate you for stopping by while you're having breakfast and all that.
I supposed to dive down here? Also, I lost my sea glide, so I'm gonna have to... I have to make a new one when I get back.
No.
Apparently you can't recollect your stuff when you die. Apparently. I still have a beacon. Sorry, you weren't looking. I need to know where the entrance is for me to progress because I went... Yeah, I need to know how to progress. Let me get out of here. Oh, God damn it. The invisible walls here are annoying. Oh, you gotta be fucking shitting me! No, don't make me drown because of a fucking invisible wall. There's a hole right over there. Let me fucking through. Are you serious? Hang on. Hang on. I swear if I fucking drown because of that invisible wall there...
30 seconds.
Oh, God damn it.
Oxygen.
Swim to the surface? Yeah, I would. If there wasn't that fucking invisible wall there. Look, the surface is right there. I'm trying to get to it. Fucking hate. I hate bullshit.
Oh.
That is actually fucking bullshit.
Welcome home.
What did I lose?
There you are.
Okay. Okay, I didn't lose all that much. Hang on a second. Damn it. Okay, I'm here. Oh, now I can get over here even though fucking before it blocked me? Okay, I don't care if I'm cheating to get back here. That was fucking bullshit. A fucking invisible wall blocked me from getting up to this air pocket. Okay, what I need to know is... I'm over here, right? I ran up here. I need to know how to progress from up here because am I supposed to try to fire extinguish my way through the administration office, or am I supposed to go out and around? Am I supposed to find another door elsewhere? I need to know where. I need to know if I meant to go out and around to find another entrance in because
I've been here. I went to administration.
I got that console.
I don't see anything else here.
I can repair that. Oh, those fires. Meh. I can't extinguish that fire. I can't go there. I don't know how I'm supposed to proceed from here. Require you to explore the main task to find the engines and repair the rad leaks. Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to find a way to jump over this or if I'm supposed to go out, back out, and find another entrance. I need the grav gun. We have the propulsion cannon.
I need to go back and make the propulsion cannon.
Alright.
Foxy?
Are you at the base?
Yes.
We need to make a propulsion cannon.
Make 2 copies.
One for you and one for me. I have the vat suit. You eventually just die from rat poison. Yeah, I already have the vat suit.
Welcome aboard, Captain.
I
have the rat suit. I was trying to figure out what I need to progress.
need propulsion to
Move obstacles out of the way. Okay. That's what we're gonna do then. I'm on my way back. Try to make some propulsion cannons. And yeah, I died because there was an invisible wall down there that I was trying to swim through to get up to the surface to breathe, but
yeah, it blocked me, so I died.
Mm-hmm.
And
because of that I used the console command to get back to where I was because fuck it. If I die due to bullshit,
like invisible walls,
I don't care if I'm cheating to get back to where I was.
Oh, it's big.
It requires
Materials that we already have. The hardest thing to make is the wiring kit, I believe.
Oh, let's see.
oh, I'm stuck. Hang on. There we go.
Don't mind the fact that my base appears to be floating.
With no stilts right now.
It's mod.
Mod bugging out.
Ay. Were you able to make the propulsion cannon yet, Fox?
Yes, it's in the water locker.
Whoa,
Inside
what's
here.
going on?
My menu is fucking up. Hang on. Okay, sorry.
Eh? I see a lot of water but no propulsion cannon.
How about the other side? Do you see it?
Mad packs and water but no propulsion cannon. Eh?
That's weird. It should be there.
Along with the mad packs?
Yeah.
Okay, I see that.
Can you see that now?
Okay, yeah.
I saw it. Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mod bugging out.
oh well. Thanks, Foxley.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna grab some.
Snacks.
And head back out.
Again.
All systems online.
Foxley's the best. Yeah, I know, right? Foxley's amazing.
Hmm?
Chad is saying Foxley's the best.
Thank you,
Prepare.
thank you.
Prepare so much water. Farming so much materials for us.
I think I might be able to salvage your sea moth as well.
With the propulsion cannon.
Alright.
We'll see.
I need to practice with the propulsion cannon anyway, so.
I'll use your CMOS as target practice.
Oh. Life pod 4 is turned to be unloaded.
Ah, janky multiplayer mod. Such jank. Oh well.
Apparently, in order to update the mod over to Subnautica 2.0, they need to rewrite the entire thing.
Because Subnautica 2.0 is
It's like, yeah, everything changed. Here I am.
now where? Here's the CMOD that Oxley Beach.
Oh, fucking.
Fuck you! Fucking bitch, die!
Yeah. Right, let's test out our new propulsion cannon. And
Welcome aboard, Captain.
okay.
your CMOS has been unbeached.
What? How?
Propulsion cannon. Apparently, it's more like the you know in Half-Life the gravity gun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's basically the Half-Life 2 gravity gun.
I see.
I just want to nibble. Drop it. No, I don't
do crabs
I prefer
unless the crabs happen to have a penis that you're going to shove down my throat or something.
kind of like all of those.
Alien porn. I see. Later, if you want, you can come and collect your.
CMOD. I
Alright.
just left it over there.
The Day Fire Nation attacked.
Yeah.
I don't know what changed between old Subnautica and Subnautica 2.0 though.
You guys can tell me if you.
Want to. Okay, so I need to Okay, so firing stuff consumes a lot of power. Pressing F to drop it saves power. Good to know. Okay. Finally. Progress. Yeah, thank you for letting me know I need to progress check. Oh, more batteries. Pascal.
Scans of damage to the Aurora do not match any known offensive technologies.
Alright, let me see here. Engineering log. There's gonna be a code somewhere here. Across the galaxy. 1454. I'm in a cargo bay. Never on there, buddy. Like I said, Chad, John did. And if anything is gonna nibble on me, it has to have dick. Or pussy. And when it comes to little headcrab things, I prefer if they have dick. Oh, Cyclops engine fragment. Disinfected water. More water. More water. More water. Hi, Street Fighter. How's it going? Welcome. Nutrient block. Anything? I don't think I can see anything in there. There we go. The fuck is that? An alien or a toy? Wait, did it just despawn? No, it's here. Bleeder? Seamoth Bay. Well, more Seamoth fragments, even though technically we already have all the fragments we need. Death Module Mark 1? Oh! We need to get another one for you, most likely. Or figure out how to make it. Any blueprints?
Integrating new PDA data.
Let's see. It's the drive room. What's down here? Prawn Bay. Oh, that's really important. Need that. cut open to access.
Right. The cutting tool for this.
Every time I have to do this in any kind of game, chat,
Every time I'm in the Aliens movie.
with that cutting torch. You're definitely inspired by aliens. Okay. Now we're in the prawn bay. Where?
Integrating new PDA data.
That battery, don't mind if I do.
Sometimes I'm always scared that I'm going to miss something.
More fire. That requires
This, right?
fire extinguisher is a little bit jank.
Need to hit the fire directly, otherwise it wouldn't work.
Air.
Yeah.
I did miss something.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
What did I miss?
Another battery?
Is that it? PDA.
Integrating new PDA
Is that
data.
it?
Was that all that I missed?
What did I miss more?
I probably missed a lot more, didn't I?
Because I'm blind.
This is why I usually not the explorer, chat. I am.
Blind.
I'm going to assume for now that that's what I missed.
If there's more that I missed, let me know.
Suit.
Fragment?
Nice. You
2
got
out
it.
of 4,
No, it's still 2 out of 4.
I think. Right?
Hmm.
Yeah, still some parts missing.
I look around, see if I can find more.
Question, chat. Am I supposed to repair these things? No. I'm only supposed to repair the vent leaks.
There's something down here I'm missing? I'm paranoid.
Doesn't look like I'm
Missing anything? Question mark?
Eh. Man, gamers don't look up.
Oh, you mean this? Oh, yeah.
3 out of 4.
Okay, one more.
I'll need one more prawn fragment.
Picking picking
Yes.
up a faint black box signature originating on the other side of the hull breach in this room.
Okay.
No. Is that it?
Got it.
New blueprint
Nice.
acquired.
New blueprint acquired.
Okay, can I climb up this?
Yes, I can. Thanks for the hint, chat.
Not gonna risk that. Unless you guys tell me that there's something in those flames. More water.
I'm gonna drink some of this.
I saw eat one of the nutrient blocks. Fire extinguisher.
I think I'm gonna need a new fire extinguisher very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Integrating
got a new
new PDA
poster.
data.
You already found a vending machine, right? Yeah.
Oh,
Found one. Something in there?
can't see anything in there. Okay, sure.
Get out of here.
Hello?
We already have one of those posters.
Oh no, what's going on here?
Something happening?
Our
New
bases.
blueprint acquired.
Didn't know what happened.
What happened?
What's wrong with our base?
It was full of holes.
What?
That's fine.
Again?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
Will that kill me?
Okay,
Captain's quarters, cabin 2. Let's see here. Okay, hang on. I'm going to look away from the sparks.
Lead offer. Making robot suit.
Up to cabin 1 codes 1869.
New blueprint acquired. Integrating new PDA data.
Carry all?
What's that? Hang on, how big is that? Hang on.
I'm gonna drop this titanium. We have a lot at home. Pick up carry all. What is that? Common bag for transporting personal items? Chat, what's the carry all used for?
Is it just a unique storage container? Oh yeah, it's just a... It's a unique storage container. Can I put stuff in the carry-all and then carry the carry-all? Let's see. Cannot pick up. Oh, of course. God fucking damn it. What's the point of a bag that I can't fucking use to carry shit? Chat. Concerts here, right now. Question that's right, heavily mechanized when to play. Can't trade the plastic music, come by cabin number 1. Oh yeah, I'm here at cabin number 1. What am I supposed to find in here? Aside from the carry-all and a bunch of garbage. The bag is used for extra space. You can put a lot of stuff in the bag and then carry the bag. But... but... Okay, hang on a second. Okay, put the bag down. Open storage. Say I put the cap and the toy and the poster in, right? And then bag is not empty, cannot pick up. What? Am I missing something here? I have to put more? What? How much stuff do I have to put in here? Bag is not empty, cannot pick up. Is this one of the things that was changed in Subnautica 2.0? This might be one of the things that was changed in Subnautica 2.0. The ability to actually fucking carry stuff. So your stream is delayed on your reacting slow. No, that's fine. That's fine. There'll always be some delay.
Integrating new PDA data.
I appreciate all the help. Another one. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, may have been, but maybe. Yeah, but oh, that's fine.
Integrating new PDA data.
There's a bunch of bags here. Not gonna bother with it. Maybe I'll take one home with me, but if there's so much shit here, I might just abandon it. I don't think I'm meant to get into cabin 5. More batteries. Actually, you know what? Since we can't really use this, just gonna drop it.
Natural Selection 2 poster.
Oh, you know, I've always wanted to play that.
No code to get into the captain's quarters yet.
Unless I missed the code.
Entirely possible.
Because I am blind.
And we'll go out to get codes for other areas of the ship. Well, I'm looking for the code into the captain's quarters right now. You can tell me now, chat. Did I miss the code for the captain's quarters?
Or am I supposed to find it elsewhere?
See a PDA.
Wait, there's something scannable.
What, really?
That shelf is scannable? Oh,
New blueprint acquired.
When you Google, then you have to look elsewhere.
okay. Oh,
I'm going to assume that I did not. My blindness did not.
you know, fuck me over.
Maybe it's just somewhere else in the ship. Because there was another pathway that I didn't check.
I'll check that. This thing is really massive.
I did not go down this way.
Let's go down this way. Drive room.
Kitty?
Hmm?
Are you still in the ship
Drive core
Yep.
shielding. Sustained internal damage during collision.
already?
Do not attempt repair without appropriate
I think I'm gonna stop here for now. We can keep on exploring if you want.
Oh,
No, I think if you want to,
and for the night then.
I should probably end as well. Oh, I found the drive core.
You sure? Won't you won't miss anything
Warning,
while the ship?
local radiation at maximum tolerable level.
Engine efficiency model.
New blueprint
No,
acquired.
no,
This playthrough is all about playing with you, so
no.
I will. We'll end it here.
Next time we play, chat.
I'm going to be trying to fix the drive room and see if I can make more progress.
Alright. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Hope you guys enjoyed the stream.
Love you all.
We'll see you again tomorrow.
Alright, chat.
I need to do some stuff to prepare for tomorrow's D&D stream.
And then,
After D&D stream, more than likely most of next week we're going to be doing.
Armored Core, so yeah. Okay, good night, everyone. Love you all. I'll see you again tomorrow, or
If not tomorrow, then maybe Armored Core or
next exercise stream, or next Subnautica. Alright. Bye bye.
good night.
Getting in.
Bed. I'm assuming you mean bed.
I'm not gonna go to sleep yet, though.
I got a bunch of stuff I have to do, but yeah.
Good night.
Oh yeah, which reminds me, I need to see if there's anyone I can
Raid. Test this.
First things first, let me see if I'm eligible for raid.
I am eligible for raid.
Nice.
going. Yeah, I know exactly who I'm gonna raid.
Friend of the channel who's been around for quite a while actually.
Used to be a viewer, now full on
YouTube streamer with a 2D VTuber model.
more advanced than me. We're going to be raiding first of today on the kick site. I don't know what he's playing. Looks like a Call of Duty. It seems to be a Call of Duty game. Also, if you guys are on YouTube, remember to hit that like, subscribe button down below if you enjoy my content. Also leave a comment. Helping, everything gotta beat the YouTube algorithm. Yeah. Alternatively, if you're on Kick, remember to hit the follow button if you enjoy my content. Yeah. Okay. We're going to rate first one now. Bye bye.
Love y'all. Bye bye. Oh yeah.